Patterson out of Tennessee, a raw receiver. A lot of people are putting him at the top of the receiving core. I like Tavon Austin as the top guy, I think, based on what he can do for the certain fit. Cordell Patterson is just like Mike Wallace, where he's a fast, big, nice hands receiver. But the only thing is his route running is not very inconsistent. As he only played 1 year in an SEC college, as he was in junior college the year before transferring over. If the Steelers can really help him stretch the field and really get more receptions to Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders, I think this guy can do really good. And obviously Ben Roethlisberger needs that deep threat that he lost in Mike Wallace, and he can also do what Austin can do too, in deep kick returning and punt returning as well.
Yeah. All right. So now, number 18 with the Dallas Cowboys, I have Kenny Vaccaro, the safety. Who do you have there?
I have Kenny Vaccaro as well, out of Texas.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, for obvious reasons, they need help. They drafted last year Morris Claiborne. They traded up to get him. Now they just need help with safety.
Yeah, Kenny Vaccaro is going to really help out the Dallas Cowboys. A hard-hitting safety, can also be lined up in the nickel as a cornerback. The Texas defense kind of underplayed, and he was pretty much the big star on that team. The Cowboys drafted Morris Claiborne in the first round, LSU corner from last year, and he played really well. You have Brandon Carr on the other side of him. Now you need to shore up that safety position and really go best player available here, and Vaccaro is going to be really good, very aggressive, and that's exactly what the Cowboys need in that secondary, with the 2 press cover corners, now with tough safety that can tackle hard. I mean, that's really going to help the Cowboys get back into the playoffs if they can.
All right, so number 19 for the New York Giants. How about you start for this one?
I have Alec Ogletree, the linebacker out of Georgia. This guy can do a lot. The only thing is the character issues, I think, kind of dropped him on my board, as he had a DWI right before the Combine. But, I mean, watching his game in the SEC Championship game against Alabama, this guy was, I mean, he's a great run stopper, can go right through the middle. He can cover tight ends. He's a great interception guy, really fast on the ball. Hard hitter too. This guy is a big time guy. The Giants lost Michael Boley, so they could use another middle linebacker to help out that defense and keep that defense strong. And I think Ogletree's a great pick, and I think he's the top linebacker in this draft.
All right, so now for me, I have I'm going with DJ Fluker, the offensive tackle out of Alabama, another tackle yet again. I mean, like you said, they definitely need an inside linebacker, but I think there's good depth there. I think they can go there in the second round as well. Obviously, maybe get a guy like Kevin Reddick. But, I mean, I think they also need help on the offensive line, and I think Fluker could be a great help to their offense.
All right, so the 20th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears. Dave, why don't you tell us who you got them picking?
That's where I had Alec Ogletree, the inside linebacker out of Georgia, Gale, just for all the reasons you just said. I mean.
Yep.
Richard?
I agree as well. Linebacker. They lost Brian Urlacher. They have still Lance Briggs that can mentor a guy like this, and probably the biggest story in the draft, one of the biggest media-wise, linebacker out of Notre Dame, Manti Te'o. Chicago Bears losing Brian Urlacher, like I already said. Te'o, he's an effort. All he has is effort and big-time hits for this team. Can really stop the run, get up the middle, even though there's not many good running backs in this division, but look, he can cover tight ends. He can do it all. The only thing is off-the-field issues. Not based on that he gets in trouble a lot, but can he handle the jokes and the things that are going to happen in the locker room with the whole girlfriend situation? As long as he can stay mature and stay out of that hole and just handle it good, I think that he'll be fine, and I think he's going to be a great player and replace a legend in the Bears' history with Brian Urlacher.
All right, so now 21 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Louis, why don't you start us off?
I have DJ Fluker, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. The Bengals don't have many holes. They made the playoffs, lost in the first round again. They could use a guy that can protect Andy Dalton. Fluker not as athletic as some of the other tackles like Joey Gold-Johnson and Fisher, but he's big, and he really helped. One of the reasons why Eddie Lacy was one of the best running backs and Alabama won the national championship. I'd like to see what he does without an all-star offensive guard and Chance Warmack.
So for my 21 overall pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going with Menelik Watson, yet another offensive tackle. He's out of Florida State. I mean, in my original mock draft, I had Eddie Lacy there. I mean, there's been talk there to back up BGE, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. So, but I think they could also use a lot of help on the offensive line, and that would be a good pick for them. Okay,
with the 22nd pick, the St. Louis Rams have their second first-round pick. Dave, give us your pick for the Rams.
I have Matt Elam, the safety out of Florida. I think they'd love to get Kenny Vaccaro, but he just won't fall that far. I mean, if they really want Vaccaro, they'll probably go with him with 16, but there's also been talk that Cincinnati would like Tavon Austin, so I've got Matt Elam, the safety out of Florida.
I agree with you. I have Matt Elam out of Florida. Big time hitter. That's what the really thing I like a lot about the safeties this year is they're hard-nosed hitters, and they can really line up anywhere in the secondary and play. Very versatile. And the Rams, they could really use a guy. They have Janoris Jenkins and Cortland Finnegan as their two corners. Now shore up the safety position and get a tough guy and really go best player available. And I like the Rams to get him. And like you said, if they go for Carroll there, they might not get Austin because, like you said, the Bengals need a possession receiver like that can go over the middle and is a versatile guy. So I like Elam as well for the Rams.
All right, so now 23, Minnesota Vikings. I am going with Matai Te'o, the inside linebacker out of Notre Dame. They really need help at the inside linebacker position, and they have two first round picks, one just coming up in 25th overall, so I think this would be a great pick for them.
I have Sylvester Williams, a defensive tackle out of North Carolina. This guy practiced every day against one of the best guards in the draft in a while, and Jonathan Cooper. He's a good pass rusher. He had 3 sacks surprisingly last year, and that's very good for a tackle. Big time run stopper. Led the team in tackles on the line. You can go into Minnesota, help a guy like Jared Allen, get some pressure in the middle. This guy can pass rush, so it can maybe pay less attention on the outside. And they need a guy in the trenches, and they have 2 first-round picks, so they can go receiver with their next pick for me.
Yeah, I also have a receiver next pick, but first, the Indianapolis Colts. How about you start us off there?
All right, with the 24th pick, I have the Colts taking Demontre Moore, defensive end out of Texas A&M. They lost Dwight Freeney. It was time they let him go. They need another guy opposite Robert Mathis. This guy's kind of fallen from boards, kind of like Bjorn Warner has. He's a 4-3 guy to me, but he can also play 3-4 outside linebacker. He's a good coverage guy and very fast. And I think the Colts can get a big-time guy. They could go offensive lineman, but they really shored up that need in free agency, and I think they can go best player available here and get a much-needed pick.
I also have the Colts going with a defensive end, except I have them going with Dayton Jones, the defensive end out at UCLA. In my old one, I changed it from Moore to Jones, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do go with Moore, though.
All right, with the 25th pick, the Minnesota Vikings have their second pick. Dave, give us your pick.
I've got them going Cordarrelle Patterson, the receiver out of Tennessee. I mean, at first I had him with Keenan, but if Patterson falls, I just don't see why they wouldn't go with the best receiver out there.
Exactly, and they had Greg Jennings, and I as well have Keenan Allen out of California here for the Vikings. Possession receiver, not as fast as Patterson and Austin, but can do a lot of things. He's big. Kind of reminds me of a guy like the guy that he's playing with now, Greg Jennings. And you need another guy. Ponder needs as many weapons as he can to help him keep the load off of Adrian Peterson and keep him healthy. And I think this is a good pick. There's been some rumors about failing drug tests for Keenan Allen. I think that'll all go away, and I think they'll take the risk with this very good skilled receiver in the Minnesota Vikings and help Christian Ponder.
I just think it's pretty much a sure thing for the Vikings to go with a receiver. I mean, they have 2 picks basically together, and obviously they want to help Peterson. And then Greg Jennings, he'll get double covered.
Right.
So they really get.
And your guy on the other side, if you don't take a receiver, is going to be who?
Jerome
Simpson.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it. You could take one in the second round, but I think you go with the most skilled position here with 2 picks.
Mm-hmm. All right, so numbers 26 to the Green Bay Packers. I have running back out of Alabama, Eddie Lacy.
As well as a running back out of Alabama is picked in the first round for the 3rd time. Don't you? I mean, if you can put Eddie Lacy next to Aaron Rodgers in that passing attack, this is one of the best offenses in the league, as it already is. But this would just put him over the top.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And he kind of reminds me of Trent Richardson too, where he always buries the head. He's a tough guy, but he's also got some underrated speed, and he's a 3-down back who can catch the ball as well. That's why I really like him for the Packers. They could go centers. They lost just Saturday, but I think there's some good guys in the second and third round they can go with.
First round, you really don't see centers.
Right, yeah. I mean, obviously you can get a guy like Jones from Alabama, but like you said, I mean, you need to go best player, and you need a running back.
All right, so now 27 to the Houston Texans. I had at first DeAndre Hopkins, but now you have DeAndre Hopkins there, so how about you talk a little bit about that?
I have DeAndre Hopkins out of Clemson. I was debating whether I should put Robert Woods here or DeAndre Hopkins. I think Hopkins fits more. Kind of reminds me of Andre Johnson. He's big. He's going to be a good red zone target. Very fast. He's kind of a sure thing receiver. The only thing is his questionable hands. He drops some passes a lot of the time that really shouldn't be. that takes coaching. It's simple, and he'll be a great receiver. And he could go maybe second round. They think they can get him, but I think the Texans, with losing Kevin Walter, obviously they had lost Jacoby Jones 2 years ago. They need a receiver now with no one there. To me, I can't even name the second guy. They need a guy right there that can really be a difference maker and take the load off Andre Johnson.
Yeah, well, there's been talk about like maybe Kevin Minter might go there, but I'm gonna also agree with receiver, except this one, Keenan Allen, like you said, the receiver to California. Also, like you didn't mention, you said Robert Woods and DeAndre Hopkins. Another guy that might go there is Justin Hunter, but I think the best guy out there would be Keenan Allen for me. And like I said about the Vikings, why not take the best guy out there, which would be Allen.
All right, with the 28th overall pick, the Denver Broncos. Dave, give us your pick.
I had Bjorn Werner, the defensive end. I said a little bit out of Florida State. I said a little bit about him before, how he dropped, but they lost Ellis Dumervil, obviously with the whole fax ordeal. So I just think to bring him in, help out their line with like Von Miller and them, just be a great pick for them.
I agree. I have Bjorn Warner from Florida State as well. Really dropped. I had him in my old mock drafts going second overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But look, I think the Broncos, like you said, they lost Ellis Dumervil, and that's hard to replace. Go with a guy that can fit in the 4-3 scheme, that can really get at the quarterback. There's some good quarterbacks in this division with Alex Smith and Phillip Rivers. Got to go get him, help Von Miller. I think he's a great rusher. 13 sacks last year. That's really good in the SEC, so I'll have them take Bjorn Warner.
All right, so now 29 to the Patriots, New England Patriots. I had them going with Justin Hunter, another receiver in the first round. Obviously, they lost Wes Welker, they lost Brandon Lloyd, they lost Deion Branch. So their best guy right now, and who really is it? Oh yeah, Danny Amendola for when he's healthy. They got him. And then they have like Donald Jones, so they really need receiver help, and I think Hunter could be just that guy.
I have Marcus Hunt, the defensive end. I agree with you. I think they could go receiver here. I think they really missed, if you look in their draft history at receivers. They go with veterans a lot. They just re-signed Brandon Lloyd, so they could go here on the defensive side. Need a guy opposite Chandler Jones and really build that line. You also have your tight end, so I think there's enough receivers for now that enough guys get Brady get the ball to, and also a guy like Donald Jones, like you said. I really like Marcus Hunt, fast guy. Kind of reminds me of Bjorn Warner, only he's not as good because he doesn't have the vertical arms, as big the arms as Bjorn Warner does. And I like Hunt here. Patriots go best player available. Only have 5 picks in this draft, and I think they get a good guy in Hunt.
All right, so now 30 to the Atlanta Falcons. Surprise pick, probably Jamar Taylor. I had cornerback out of Boise State. With the top 3 corners out of there, I think they obviously need corner help for some obvious reasons. So I think bringing in maybe the best available guy in Taylor.
I have Desmond Trufant out of Washington. I have him going here as the 3rd cornerback selected. Jamar Taylor's a good pick, though. I really like Jamar Taylor. Physical guy that can start week 1. I think that the Falcons losing Brent Grimes and Laurent Robinson, Donta Robinson, they could really use a guy like Desmond Trufant, who really became known at the Senior Bowl. Big-time tackler. I always use this, brother of Marcus Trufant, but I think he reminds me a lot of his brother. Not going to be a big-time corner in the league, but I think he's going to be a really good corner in the league. A starter, maybe not elite, but I think he's going to be a good second corner to Asante Samuel.
All right, so now 31, the San Francisco 49ers. I had them going with defensive end Demontre Moore. If he falls, which for you don't, I think their defense is just so good already. But they just don't need anything, and just shoring up that defensive line would just make them that much better.
All right, I have for 30 for the San Francisco 49ers, Jesse Williams, defensive tackle out of Alabama. You could go here safety like a guy like Eric Reed, as they lost to Sean Golton. But there's guys in the second round you can get like Bakari Rambo, TJ McDonald, Jonathan Cyprien. Yeah. You're right. So you can go best player available, get a guy you lost, Isaac Swapawaga, to the Eagles, so you need a guy like this. He's not very fast. You're not going to see him pass rushing, but he's just a nose. He's going to go into the trenches, get big-time tackles, and stop those good running backs in that division. So I think this is a great pick, and I think the 49ers are going to keep their defensive stellar play going.
All right, so now to finish it off with the Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl winners, they really lost linebackers, so that's why obviously with Ray Lewis and Danielle Eller were losing them. I had him going with the 3rd inside linebacker of the first round, Kevin Reddick, out of LSU.
I have Kevin Minter, the linebacker out of LSU.
Wait, I said Kevin Reddick. I meant Kevin Minter.
Okay, yeah. Kevin Minter. NFL-ready linebacker. Look at his game against Alabama. He was all over the field, making tackles, interceptions, forced fumbles, and everything. Need a guy to replace Ray Lewis. You did sign Rolando McClain, but I think he can play on the ROLB side in the 4-3 scheme or 3-4. Kevin Minter's a guy that can come start week 1. You replaced Ed Reed with Marcus Huff from the Oakland Raiders. Now you can go get a guy like Kevin Minter. There's really good linebackers in this draft, and I think the Super Bowl champ's going to get a good player.
Well, like I said, I did say Kevin Reckman. He's another inside linebacker.
Also Arthur Brown.
Who I've actually seen go in like the mid-20s of the first round in mock draft. So we both agree on Kevin Minter at LSU. So that's gonna do it for this edition of NFL Experts. We're done until May. Well, besides the live shows, but we'll be jumping into our schedule rundown. So we'll see you then.
See you later.